Chapter 6 is going to focus on the study of polynomials. And when we were doing Chapter 5 stuff, we were talking about quadratics. Quadratics are one type of polynomial, but when we talk about stuff in this chapter, with quadratics we really only focused about x squared, and that was where we went. With polynomials, you can have bigger exponents on x. So we're going to be talking about things like x to the third power, x to the fourth, x to the 12th power, and stuff like that. They have a few rules here that we kind of use to decide if something's a polynomial or not. So we're going to start there. So when you have your coefficients are the numbers in front of your variable, they need to be real numbers. In other words, no imaginary numbers with the coefficients. You can't have an I in front of one of your variables. Secondly, all of your exponents are going to be whole numbers. So there will be no negatives and no decimals for your exponents on x. And finally, we typically write polynomials in standard form. We always kind of talk about standard form. We've seen it with lines, with quadratics. In polynomials, all standard form really means is that your exponents are going in descending order. So you go from big exponents to small. And to finish off this video, all I have here is a list of what is a polynomial and what is not. So my first example here has 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. All of the variables, though, we have x to the fourth, x to the third, x squared, no x at all, which really, we'll get to this in a later chapter or a later video. This is really x to the 0 power, if we don't even see it there, but we'll get to that later. So yes, this is a polynomial because all of my exponents are whole numbers, and my coefficients here, there are no i's involved. I can have square roots, I can have pi, that's fine, but that is going to be a polynomial. Second example has 2 terms here. 2 terms, by the way, is called a binomial. I think I've mentioned that already and we've talked about it, but just in case you haven't seen it yet. Binomial has 2 terms. And this is a polynomial. Whole number exponents, coefficients are no i's. This one right here at the bottom is also a polynomial. It's called a monomial because it's got 1 term. And that's fine. On my examples over here, this one is not a polynomial because it has x to a decimal power. That's bad, so that one's out. It would have been. It is a trinomial because there are 3 terms, but it's not a polynomial. Second one has an I involved, so that's no good. This isn't a polynomial. Last one here has a negative exponent, also not a polynomial. So picking out what is and what is not too bad to do.